This is Land of Havilah, Psalm 60, verse 1. For the chief musician, to the tune of the Lily of the Covenant, a teaching poem by David when he fought with Aram Naharaim and with Aram Zobah, and Joab returned and killed 12,000 of Edom in the Valley of Salt. God, you have rejected us. You have broken us down. You have been angry. Restore us again. Comment. In the end, David's military dominated the surrounding countries. He controlled a large territory from the Euphrates River in the north to the border of Egypt on the south. He exacted tribute in many cases, 1 Chronicles 19 and 2 Samuel 8 and 10. But it didn't come without struggles, as he implies in verse 1, that at the time he wrote this, he felt God was angry with Israel and had rejected them. And he prays for restoration, saying, Restore us again, in verse 1. Speaking of God's rejection of Israel, verse 2, You have made the land tremble. You have torn it. Mend its fractures, for it quakes. You have shown your people hard things. You have made us drink the wine that makes us stagger. You have given a banner to those who fear you, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. So that your beloved may be delivered, save with your right hand and answer us. Comment. God's shown Israel rough times in verse 3, quote, You've shown your people hard things. You've made us drink the wine that makes us stagger, end quote. Therefore, David prays to God that he would mend, deliver, and save Israel. In verse 4, you've given a banner or rallying flag to those who fear you, that it may be displayed because of the truth. The people of God can rally together to stand in the truth. When they do, there'll be hope in this situation of trembling, fracturing, staggering, and difficulties. Coming up, some pronouncements by God that he does what he wishes in Israel and in foreign lands. Verse 6. God has spoken from his sanctuary. I will triumph. I'll divide Shechem and measure out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the defense of my head. Judah is my scepter. Moab is my wash basin. I'll throw my shoe on Edom. I'll shout in triumph over Philistia. Comment, unless we follow Bible geography, the places in verses 6 to 8 are a mishmash of names with no meaning. In verse 6, Shechem's on the western edge of the Jordan Valley. Succoth is on the opposite side of the valley, on the eastern edge, so one on each side of the river. God says in that verse, I'll triumph. I'll divide Shechem and measure out the valley of Succoth. In other words, God will be the master of who controls the land on both sides of the river. In verse 7, Gilead's all the territory east of the river, Ephraim and Judah are west of it, and Manasseh is on both sides. They're all components of historic Israel, as God gave it to them in the days of Moses and Joshua. But Israel's possession of it on both sides of the river has been in flux since Israel arrived in the land. God says, the lands are mine. In verse 7, Ephraim will defend God's territory, and Judah is the scepter of it, meaning the house of David, which is from Judah, will be the kings of God's land. In contrast, the Moabite foreigners on the opposite side of the Dead Sea in verse 8 are God's wash basin, and he'll throw his shoe on the foreigners of Edom, who are south of the Dead Sea, meaning God will see to it that Moab and Edom are servile. Now David asks, verse 9, Who'll bring me into the strong city? Who has led me to Edom? Haven't you, God, rejected us? You don't go out with our armies, God. Give us help against the adversary, for the help of man is vain. Through God we shall do valiantly, for it's he who will tread down our adversaries. Comment, making verses 9 through 12 more understandable, your narrator's take on them is, who will give David victory over strong foreign cities? Who sends David to Edom and will give him victory over it? How can it be you, God, since you've rejected us? You don't go out with the armies of Israel. You haven't been giving us victory. Give us help against our enemies, for the help of man is vain. Through God we shall do valiantly, for it's he who will tread down our adversaries. So as usual, there's a statement of confidence at the end and a marshaling of faith that God will marvelously resolve every concern. Psalm 61 is next.